agree not to fact check. I'll check it. But look, crossings are down compared to when Donald Trump left office. But it's again blaming and not trying to find a solution. I was going to ask though on this question: are we going to drill and build houses in the same federal land? And I think when people hear federal land, these are really important pieces of land. Now, Minnesota doesn't have a lot of federal land. I know in the western part of the country we do. There's not a lot of federal lands in and around Minneapolis, for example. So the issue is I don't understand the federal lands issue.
Hello. Hello there.
And our federal lands, look, Minnesota, we protect these things. We've got about 20% of the world's fresh water. These lands protect. They're there for a reason. They belong.
What's up?
Again, this is when you do housing.
I'll wait till some heads come in. And you guys let me know if the TV is too loud. I thought I'd get a head start on the end of the debate.
Contributing factors to high housing costs. What evidence do you have that migrants?
You guys let me know how it sounds. I don't think. What's up, Dr. Nova? Can you hear the TV? I'll be quiet. You guys let me know if you can hear the television. Is it distracting to my viewing audience? Okay. I'll turn it down a little bit. Actually, I just turned it down. I've heard enough. I mean, I would say that Vance seems to be a little more polished. What up, Dr. Chow, the Mega G? I mean, I'd call it a draw. I mean, it's got about 15 minutes left, but, you know, I just, Vance is, you could tell he's practiced debate a little more than Walz. Yeah, it's very boring. I don't think this debate moved the needle at all. I mean, he is good at it. Whether you like Vance, Trump, whatever. You know, when they asked him about the Trump Hitler comment, he kind of deflected and I didn't really mean it. You know, gave a believable answer. I mean, Waltz just isn't as polished as Vance is, and it's pretty clear. But I also don't think he's like killing him. I thought the worst part for Walz was when they asked him about him saying he was in Tiananmen Square. He spoke for 2 minutes and answered everything but the question. Yeah, I mean, I'm not voting for either party this year. I'm taking a knee. So, you know, I can be pretty objective. The debate is still on, Biggie. It's got about what time? It's got about 12 more minutes left. I don't think it changed anyone's mind. Zumak can't stomach the Zumak. So let's talk about the Wonderland murder documentary by the great Michael Connolly. But we can talk about the debate too. We can talk about whatever. Except any Dabbleverse related content is now pay to play, baby. You can mention it in chat, but I won't mention it. And that's fine, ACDC, that you are a Trump guy. And if there's a Biden guy in here or a girl, awesome. Um, it's all love, all love. Amazing. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I think the debut is tomorrow at 9. I don't know if it's East Coast time or West Coast time, but I will be on the Jesse Lee Peterson podcast. If you don't know who Jesse Lee Peterson is, he's basically a black Alex Stein. So, and a lot of people walk off his show. You know, I think he tries to troll you into going, fuck this, and walking off. I did not walk off. I will admit, though, about a half hour in, I was like, I might have to walk off of this because he's persistent when he wants you to answer something in a particular way. But I got along with him. I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. So, you know, I had a fun time. I mean, very few people make me laugh. He made me laugh. So I hope you enjoy that. And he's got a fairly big following. So, I mean, I would disagree with you there. I mean, Dr. Chow, not in terms of him doing it for 30 years, but I mean, 20 minutes into, now I'm saying this because I was in the firing line with him, but 20 minutes into the interview, I was like, Jesus, this guy's like a black Alex Stein. So I had a very good time. I mean, I would do it again. I mean, it's kind of in a weird setting. It's at I think it's like at a church on Pico in La Cienega, if you guys are familiar with that area. No, I mean Alex Stein. I don't know if I believe that, Dr. Chow. I mean, I can just say in the interview I did, and you'll see it tomorrow. He trolls. He trolls. But it's funny to me. And my interview with him was not necessarily of the religious overtones that he usually does. You know, mine was a little more funny. You know, it wasn't necessarily as deep as, you know, you might get if Jesse was interviewing a pastor. But I had a very good time. Oh, I didn't know that. Ben Stein is a bright man, but and we had good chemistry, me and Jesse Lee. He's just funny. Like I don't even want to give away what we talked about, but you know, you can imagine if you're fans of his and if you're fans of mine, how the interview went. It was very, very I would say that this is probably the funniest interview Jesse Lee's done. Now, he had told me to, hey, watch a few episodes just so you know what you're walking yourself into. Yes, he did. He did. He did. I don't want to spoil the interview. The interview is about an hour, and might have been a little over an hour, and I had a very good time. You know, I've heard some interesting things about Jesse since the video or since the interview, but I can only speak on how I had a good time with him. So it's funny. So please, if you get it, or if you listen to his podcast, please share and all that stuff tomorrow. Like I said, I think it's premieres in 9 hours, so that would be maybe it's 6 a.m. my time, so 9 a.m. East Coast time. I mean, I got along with him. I mean, you know, someone sent me a documentary about him that did not exactly paint him in a good light, but that was sent to me after the interview. So I forgot what I wore, to be honest with you. Um, I just remember him going, amazing. We talked a lot about RFK, my religious upbringing, which is interesting because my mom was Jewish, but she had to convert to Catholicism to marry my dad. So I was raised Catholic, but most hardcore Jews would be like, yeah, you're Jewish, bro. But I identify much more with being Catholic. Oh, I got several amazing. And then my friend Anthony from Las Vegas, he just sent me 3 or 4 interviews of people walking off the show. you know, I mean, I got to be careful when I'm on these a show like Jesse's because it's racially, he goes in. And now granted the jellies is the jellies never got canceled, but there's still a shot it could come back someday. I mean, that's how Tyler the Creator works. He would bring a cartoon back after 3 years of not being on the air. So, I got to kind of be a little careful with what I say on some of these interviews, but oh my God, if Jesse Lee Peterson was white, he wouldn't have lasted past 2 episodes. Oh, I comedian Shang. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, I don't really like Shang that much, to be honest with you. Like, I remember once we were because he's not passed at the Comedy Store, and he was like complaining to me that he should have been, and he's like, "I'm a draw, man. This place needs me," and nobody is needed by the Comedy Store. I could quit the Comedy Store tomorrow; they would do fine without me. And then me and Shang proceed to go up in the belly room and play to a room with maybe 20 people in it. I'm like, I thought you said you were a draw. Uh, I mean, I didn't know anything about his show, to be honest with you, ACDC. Um, and no, I won't. I'm retired from all Dabbleverse shows. Which is too bad, but I just if the stream sniping shit wasn't so prevalent, I'd probably go on Dabbleverse shows, but then I get roped into it, and you got guys like Melton and John from Win by Two doing 5-hour streams. Like I don't really get a chance to fight back, so that's why I don't go on Dabbleverse shows anymore. Just because you want to say something roasty about me, say it to my face. Because that's I'm face to face, person to person. So that's how I do it. Anyone can talk shit on a keyboard. ACDC, hey, you just said Jesse sent you clips of his show saying. No, he said Jesse said you should watch. Jesse sent me a clip of Jamie Kennedy on the show, but I'm much more. I wanted it to be organic, so I didn't look at the clip. I had no idea that Jesse kind of goes for the vibe is almost like Wally George meets Alex Stein meets Larry Elder, if you know who Larry Elder is. And then my friend Anthony sent me. We were talking about. He said, "Hey, I saw you're gonna be on Jesse Lee Peterson's show." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did you walk off?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I thought about it about a halfway in because it was just like, I don't want to." You'll see what question he asked me about halfway in. I'm like, I don't know if I can answer this. You know, because that's the thing about podcasters is, you can't really cancel a podcast. I mean, I guess you could get kicked off of YouTube like Pat Dixon, but like for the most part, you know, you can kind of go on. I mean, look at Hinchcliffe. When the Ping Dang thing happened, everyone thought, "Oh, Tony's done," but his podcast obviously now is bigger than ever. So, um, Jesse don't give a fuck. You're not going to cancel him. It's basically he runs his own podcast. So now I guess you could have it taken off of YouTube, but that's going to be pretty hard to do. But I could get kicked off the Jellies if they ever brought it back. Now it's unlikely that they're going to bring it back, but let's say they bring it back. I got to be careful a little bit. Yeah, my friend Anthony, ACDC, sent me clips of people walking off his show. I love Larry Elder. Yeah, me and Tony get along. I mean, we're like big brother, little brother. I've known Hinchcliffe for about I don't know, 15 years. We've had maybe one argument in 15 years, so we're cool. We don't talk a lot anymore just because I'm not really in the Austin scene. I'm actually not in the Austin scene at all, to be completely frank. But me and Tony are good. Um, well, I mean, you got to live life carefully when you're on TV shows or at the Comedy Store. Like I make really good money at the Comedy Store. Uh, it's not enough to buy a house, but it's nice pocket change. So it's not that I have to cuck to anyone, but you'll see. I mean, Jesse Lee goes deep. And, I think he thrives on the uncomfortableness of his guests. Now I've kind of gone down a rabbit hole and watched some episodes. And you could tell, like, when he senses you're apprehensive or he senses that you are scared, he goes hard. But I don't think I really show that. I mean, I got a little, not necessarily uncomfortable, but he must have asked me if I'm voting for the Great White Hope like at least 10 times. So, but it was fun. I think you guys will like it. I mean, I rarely laugh. Hit the like button, pretty please, and I'll laugh as much as you want. Even with the sound down right now, Walt looks like he's just trying too hard. I mean, Vance is polished, man. Uh, Oh, okay. I mean, I've heard of TJ. I think a fan of mine reached out and said, "Hey, I can get you on Jesse Lee's show." Oh boy, could Jesse Lee get over? He could probably go on late night at the store. Um, so, um, he definitely is an acquired taste. But like I said, I had a very good time. Um, and he was very humble and whatnot with me. And I would go back. I mean, I'm not sure if he has repeat guests, and I'm not sure what we would talk about. Kip Smith, what up? Kip Smith, he's not in here right now, but William Zoom's also been made a moderator. Lois is chilling right now just because the other night you weren't in the stream and we were getting spammed hard. Jesse Lee is buddies with Segura. I mean, he's very engaging. Um, and he's very polished. Like I was watching some interview with him today, where he was interviewing a female pastor, and he just kept baiting her with, why are women weak? And just needling her and needling her. And she finally just said, well, she didn't say fuck this, but she walked off. And Jesse is amazing. Yeah, I mean, he's the interview. I mean, I'm assuming it's on Apple Podcast as well, but I got a YouTube notification about Jesse's podcast. So subscribe to Jesse's stream, and tomorrow morning. Oh no, I mean, I'm kind of new to him. I mean, like I said, my friend Anthony sent me about 3 or 4 episodes of people walking off. because when me and Anthony were talking, I'm like, yeah, I almost walked off, man. He's like, oh, it's a good thing you didn't, because the fans really troll the ones who walk off. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I certainly need to get on bigger podcasts. So, yeah, I mean, I see Segura. He's always friendly. I mean, we used to be a little more friendly towards each other before he blew up, but you know, he's busy, and we were never like that close in the first place. I remember one time I was in Calgary with Rob Schneider, and Tom was, unbeknownst to me, had watched my whole set. Now, I didn't know he was in the room because Rob was there the whole weekend. Uh, I'll assume maybe Tom was playing a theater or something, and we kind of bonded in Calgary, but we don't talk a lot. Yeah, Zoom. There was someone spamming big time in chat, and I was having trouble blocking them, and so Zoom came in and cleaned up. So I was thankful to him. Late to the game. Have you talked about the insane number of celebs dying? I know it's a rest in peace to Kimbe Mutombo. Rest in peace, John Ashton from Beverly Hills Cop and Some Kind of Wonderful. Rest in peace, John Amos, James Earl Jones. I mean, two of the great black actors. So I'm Pete Rose, obviously. I mean, this has probably been the busiest. Yeah, someone told me Darren from TJ Hooker died. What was it? James Darren? Uh, so TJ Hooker was kind of an underrated show. It kind of falls in there with Vegas. Yeah, I mean, but James Darren, like, what an awful time to die if you're someone like James Darren, who hadn't really done much since TJ Hooker, and then all these huge, the greatest baseball player of all time, arguably, Pete Rose dies. A beloved basketball player, Dikembe Mutombo dies. A beloved father figure actor dies, John Amos. Psycho Sid, yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, Adrian's Med, one of the Zoom. We got two moderators in the house. No more spam wars in the Earlverse stream. So let's, of course, we can talk about anything in the stream, but let's do a little bit of the Wonderland murders wrap up. Yes, William Zoom, I believe, has all the plugs. We can't talk. Well, yeah, you can pay for that, Dr. Chow. You're doing a Jesse Lee Peterson trolling. You're trolling. But yes, no more. I will not acknowledge the dabble in the stream unless it's a super chat. Sorry, guys. It's just how I have to operate. The Earlverse is a business. Now, I'm not trying to do a steel toe and beg for money, but I really don't like talking about the Dabbleverse. So if you guys want to, you got to pay to play, mamas. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have many. I mean, my plugs are pretty easy. It's just at Earl Skakel everywhere. From Patreon to YouTube to yeah, I love Adrian's Med. Yeah, Dr. Chow, I'm gonna have you banned if you keep up that kind of Jesse Lee Peterson trolling. It's not an original. It's the World Tour 1983-84. Of course, that would be the infamous Tank Tour with Vinnie Vincent in the house. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be working a little bit more on Patreon. The Comedy Store now tapes all of our main room sets. So when I could figure out how to upload a clip of that nature, I might just put those on Patreon. So that way, if you want to see longer sets by me, you can go to Patreon and, I think the pricing's pretty fair. But I have neglected that because I've been so focused on building up the YouTube channel and whatnot, doing deep dives into my video collection, trying to release some, like tomorrow I'm releasing the interview I did with a Comedy Central star, Jake Weissman, Comedy Store paid regular. It's just, I forgot I had taped the whole interview on I think it was my iPhone at the time. So I'm trying to give you guys a little bit more video footage. Now, I realize a video of me walking my dog from 6 years ago isn't the most interesting video, but there's worse. So I'm trying, guys, to be entertaining. Adrian's Bed, a deep dive on Adrian's Bed wouldn't take that long. That was basically a bachelor party, dance fever, TJ Hooker, and that's a wrap. Yes, I'm trying to do shorts. I released a short today of the first minute of my interview with Jake. I mean, yeah, I did not go to Skankfest. It's just not my scene, man. I just want to do stand up. I don't want to be like 100th in line in terms of importance at Skankfest, which is about where I'd be. But I love those guys. Zach Amico, Lewis. I don't know Dave Smith. I barely know Big J. Did you enjoy the Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view? I didn't watch it. You do your own thing, sign off wise. I give him the light when he says he's wrapping it up. Yes, I do my thing, chicken wing. I believe the vice presidential debate is now over. And now we get to the real bullshit of all three networks saying who won and who lost. Yeah, I know nothing about Dave Smith, but I'm sure Dave Smith knows equally as nothing about me. So I saw they did a roast battle type show at a Skankfest. No thanks. So I had no desire, and I wasn't asked to do it, to be honest with you. But I'm sure if I reached out to Lewis and said, "Hey, I'd like to do Skankfest," the first thing he would offer me is, "Hey, do you want to do roast battle?" No. Yeah, I saw that Jeff was there, so definitely no thanks on that. Yeah, 100% Ross Dogs, 100%. I've done the naked roast shows. I mean, it's just like, and I saw some of the people doing it, and it's just like, you people aren't known for your stand-up. But you're getting nothing from doing this roast battle. Nothing. Why put in the effort? Would you roast battle Hella Mark Harley? I don't know who that is, so I would not. Yeah, we can talk baseball, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know a lot about baseball, to be perfectly frank. I mean, I don't follow this era much. I mean, I'm an Angels guy, and we're so bad that I get brokenhearted. So when the Angels are out, poor Mike Trout. Someone rescue Mike Trout. Just trade a few of your prospects that'll probably never make it, and you get one of the great players of all time. So, I don't. I mean, what can you say? is Schaub's former baddie and Addy Wrangler. Oh yeah, I don't know who that is. When I did roast battle, I would really never roast battle people I didn't know. Now, on the TV show, I had to battle people I didn't know because I was forced to, but um, I just have no interest in roast battling anyone anymore. I mean, I went 4-1 on TV, beat Jimmy Carr, beat K. Trevor Wilson, beat their #1 roast writer, beat Tom Ballard, who's like one of the best ever. And it literally did nothing for me, like nothing. So battling Mark Harley or some Schaub guy, nah, I'm good. I think Schaub will ever return to comedy? Probably not, because now he realizes how hard it is. Uh, so, um, there's not enough money in the world for me to roast battle anybody. Like I said, I get nothing out of it. Literally nothing. If beating Jimmy Carr gets you nothing, then beating someone else gets you nothing. So see ya, Kip. Um, my comedy life right now is really, I got to get something out of it. I'm done doing shitty gigs, and that's why I pretty much only really perform at the Comedy Store, because there's always industry in the room. So I do get something out of it. I was doing a show the other night in the main room, and these two looked like kids came up to me and said, "So, hey, we work at Cartoon Network. Are you really Barry Jelly?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, let's talk." So that's something that's not going to happen at doing a roast battle, um, or Skankfest. So um, now you might say, "Well, Earl, what is this stream doing for you?" But it's building a fan base, and I think if anyone of the 18 people in the stream, if you guys saw me performing at a comedy club, you would go based on these streams. So I do get something out of it. It looks like Walsh is wrapping up. I thought one thing Walsh said that he shouldn't have been saying so much was, I do agree with Senator Vance. That didn't really portray strength. So getting back to the Wonderland Murders doc, I like the show overall. Episode 4, which was the last episode, primarily featured talking about Scott Thorson, Liberace's lover, who allegedly was at Eddie Nash's house when Nash gave the orders to his bodyguard Gregory Dials and John Holmes to go murder everyone who ripped him off. And Scott Thorson just died. He came off believable, but he also came off as, he'll say anything. And, a lot of the things he was saying can't be verified because, Eddie Nash is dead, Gregory Dials is dead. So many players of the Wonderland Murders are dead. Really, John Holmes is dead. So you can't really fact check anything that Scott said. But I thought Michael Connelly did a great job, and a great interviewer. Like, he really kind of has a monotone style, and I thought that Tom Lang and D'Souza interviews, they were the two lead detectives. I thought they were very good. Like I said last week, I think Tom Lang probably wants to talk about this case because he's probably sick of talking about the OJ case. Thorsten, I think he told, it was a potpourri of lies and truth intertwined with each other. So it was just like, you got to pick and choose what you want to believe he said and take it from there. Um, you know, probably the only thing I hadn't heard was that there was another suspect that the defense had brought in, and I'd never heard that guy's name before. I forget his name now, of course. But I would love to interview Tom Lang. I've tried to find him on social media. He seems like the type of guy who would do it. Um, like he's a pretty straight shooter at this point of his life. Um, so it was very interesting. I mean, I still think a documentary on Netflix could be made. I thought probably my favorite part of the 4-part series was there was some video footage of Eddie Nash that I had never seen before, and I thought I've seen it all. Um, well, Tom Lang's just an old school cop from that era, so there's no bullshit. He's not um, making, uh, he's not blowing up his own spot to seem more important than he is. He's a pretty straight shooter, and his partner Sousa uh, seemed very much the same. Um, all right, the debate is over. I think Walls and Vance, they kind of like each other. You could tell they like each other. So it wasn't the most like spirited debate with people talking shit. Now let's see if the wives hug. All right, I think they're about to. All right, Wall shakes Vance's wife. Oh, no hug, but a handshake. Definitely, you're not going to see this with Trump and Harris if they do another debate. Yeah, this was like watching Hogan and Warrior. Like, dude, they're not going to really talk shit. And, um, I will say that the moderators seemed fair, a little fairer than the last two were, certainly. I do think Kamala Harris should debate on Fox. Trump, whether you like Trump or not, he goes into enemy territory. He went to that ABC debate knowing that they're going to be how they're going to be. He's done CNN debates. I'd vote for the Shockmaster. Is he alive? I mean, Tom Lang, I'm going to guess he's got to be in his mid-70s, so clock is ticking. But I would love, he's not on social media that I can find. So but I would love to interview him about, I'd ask him probably some questions about OJ, but I would definitely have the majority of our interview be about Eddie Nash. Would you interview Kim Goldman? I'd interview anybody, to be honest with you. Yeah, I would interview Kim Goldman. I think if I had to pick some people from like crime cases, I would definitely want Tom Lang, D'Souza. He's not as famous as Tom Lang, but he was there. And let me see who else. Anyone from the OJ case. Although the OJ case is kind of played out. That's the great thing I think about the Nash, the Wonderland murders. Even though there's been a few movies about it, Boogie Nights was loosely based around the Wonderland case. It's still kind of fresh, because not a lot of people know about Eddie Nash. What exact day did you do the JLP show? I want to say 2 weeks ago, maybe on a Wednesday, and it comes out tomorrow. Yeah, Phil Van Adder, I believe he's deceased. Judge Ito would be cool. You've never really seen Judge Ito interviewed, to my knowledge. I'm trying to think. Who else? The problem with the Nash trial is, and it's what I kind of ran up against when I was pitching the documentary, was a lot of these people are dead. So but I do think that, Michael, yeah, Mark Furman would be great. he, ironically enough, he wrote the book about my cousin, so we could kind of get some crosstalk on Michael Skakel. I'm trying to think who, the Nash documentary. I was like, listen, to the person at Netflix, I was like, you could interview Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, anyone from Motley Crue, Tommy Lee, because they all played the Starwood before Motley Crue was famous. You could interview anyone from Van Halen, Quiet Riot. You could get Rudy Sarzo. You could get, obviously, porn stars. Allegedly Queen on. Like, allegedly. So you can ban who Kiss, Gene Simmons. Gene loves to talk. So you can get people from the porn world, but a lot of those people, sadly, are deceased. So, but I do think you could go for that celebrity factor, which Michael Connolly opted not to. It was just him interviewing Tom Lang and D'Souza. Yes, I mean, I will watch the interview. The daddy. Yes, I am the daddy. Yes, and that's tomorrow. Let me see. Let me go on my iPad. Hopefully, this doesn't fuck up the Wi-Fi. Well, it's a dark world, Queen on. To be honest with you, let's see. YouTube. Let's okay, so here we go. At Earl Skakel joins Jesse. It premieres in 9 hours, October 2nd at 5 a.m. my time, so 8 a.m. your time. The adult industry is a brutal industry to live in. Because nowadays there's so much free porn that nobody really wants to pay for it anymore. So the prices of what porn actors get paid has sunk like a rock. I mean, why pay an actress, $3,000 for a shoot and a guy $1,500 for the shoot? Because guys get paid much less than women. When you could literally go on myfreecams.com and watch whatever you want to watch for free. So, I think it affects people in that way. If you, and then I think in the 80s and 90s, people didn't, there was very few porn stars that had lasting careers. I mean, you had Jenna Jameson, but a lot of people who look like Jenna Jameson, Jenna Jameson light, you would, it's like models, okay. Cindy Crawford was hot, but, as soon as she hit 30, it was like, all right, she can do commercials now, but we don't want to see her on the runway. And she's beautiful. Naomi Campbell, oh, she's beautiful, but you got a wrinkle now. Get rid of her. Get the new version in. I mean, it's fucking brutal. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I know I've done an interview with Jasmine St. Clair, my good friend. Oh, Cindy Crawford's beautiful, but this business is fucking brutal, man. The minute you even age a little bit, you're done. Sleazier business, comedy or porn. I mean, they have parallels, to be honest with you. It's very, a young comic is young for only a brief period of time, and then it's like, all right, we can't really use them anymore. They're not as young as they used to be. Get the new version of them. Yes, I did interview Kate Kennedy. I interviewed Jasmine St. Clair. I'm trying to think anyone else from the porn world. I don't recall right now interviewing anyone from the porn world. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, R.I.P. Pete Rose. I mean, been a. I don't recall an era of celebrities dying. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, from Sid to John Amos, it's been tough. Yeah, I believe Jasmine. I've interviewed her twice. I think once on Inappropriate Earl and once with Eddie Torres on the Comedy Store Wrestling podcast. So, uh, we're good friends. I always see her at XPW shows, but I don't believe she's working with XPW at the moment. Uh, I don't know, Night Moose. I don't know. Jimmy Carter's 100 years old today. Whether you like the man or not, happy birthday to James Carter. Not many people hit triple digits in the age. Keith Richards is still alive. How wackadoony is that? I thought you were talking about Jack Perry of AEW, William. He is the scapegoat. So, it's just one of those things that death is, some people smoke and drink their whole life. Nothing happens. I mean, Lemmy did more drugs than every band put together, and he lived to about 73. But he probably could have lived a lot longer if he didn't do drugs. But Lemmy literally did drugs probably 85% of his life. He probably smoked cigarettes, or probably started around 10, and then weed, and then coke, and then acid, and whatever else he did. So speed and whatnot. So Lemmy did not get cheated in life. Maybe it's better he died when he did. I mean, he lived. I forget how old he was when he passed. Early 70s, I want to say. But he lived about 400 years. So he was not cheated in life. Keith Richards has lived about 20 lives. It is a medical miracle that he is still alive. And Pete Rose, what was he, 83? That's a nice fucking run. Who else has lived? Dikembe Mutombo at 58. That's brain cancer. I mean, like I said, that's what my mom died of. So that is that's no joke. It's so I know what the end was like for Dikembe. It's brain cancer just robs you of life. Which rock star has the highest body count? I mean, I guess Gene Simmons, but I mean, Vince Neil's numbers are almost uncalculable. Paul Stanley probably is up there. Not Vince Neil. Probably Bret Michaels. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards have been fucking for 60 years. Like, think about that. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards have fucked longer than I've been alive. So, you got to think, Led Zeppelin. I mean, can you imagine how many girls Robert Plant's been with? Boy band members certainly have probably built an impressive resume. Well, that's why they go to guys. You get, David Lee Roth, that most people think he's gay. I don't care what he is, but, pussy literally is a gateway drug to dick. Well, I think Freddie Mercury liked dudes more than women. He just preferred men. George Michael could fuck any woman on planet Earth, but, I think he just preferred dudes. By the way, the cop who arrested him in Beverly Hills, I went to grade school with, Officer Marcelo Rodriguez. He was my best friend in grade school. Doesn't it get boring after a while? It probably does, but, who doesn't like to come? Freddie hooked up with John Glover. I mean, I've never heard that before, but, John Glover is gay, so anything is possible. You can see that scenario happening. I've never heard that before, William, but, I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying that, and speaking of Wonderland, I'm watching something right now with Dylan McDermott, who played David Lynn in Wonderland. Uh, I didn't know that. I mean, I could see that happening. I mean, John Glover, when he was younger, a very good-looking man. I mean, I am straight, but I can say that. I mean, John Glover in like 52 pickup was a very 80s good-looking man. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Freddie Mercury is up there. You know, I mean, they say John Holmes, 14,000 people. I mean, I don't necessarily know if I believe that because, John Holmes was kind of like Scott Dorson, a little bit of lies, a little bit of the truth. I mean, Jim Morrison probably a couple hundred people. Specialists, every day I look at places online. So, someone gave me a great idea from the stream the other night. Why don't you do the special at the Wonderland Murder House? Can you imagine that? How great would that be? But I'm assuming, excuse me, the lady who rents it out probably wouldn't be down for, 50 people sitting in her living room. But, that's something that is appealing to me, like something that funky. Um, maybe we do it at Eddie Nash's house. Halloween special, but it's got to be special. I could rent a theater right now and do it Wednesday night. I mean, doing the comedy part of the special will be very easy to do. I'm pretty polished, but it's also, like I said, what up, Ryan? We're just chilling right now. We're just talking a little bit of the Wonderland murders, a little bit of the vice presidential debate. Do I have any Roddy jackets or shirts? I mean, I have a few Roddy shirts I bought from like Roots, that they're like Mitchell and Ness for wrestling. But the only thing I have that Roddy gave me personally was the mask and the bubblegum soda autograph bottle. Yes, Vigilante Justice. For those of you who don't know, we'll end the stream explaining this one because it'll probably take a few minutes. But recently, I think a week and a half ago, at an open mic at the no, not at the Comedy Store, at a comedy club called the Fourth Wall, a 10 plus. There was an attack. A male comic hit a female comic with a metal water bottle in the back of her head. It's the talk of the LA comedy scene right now. And apparently he ran off, got into his car, hit a bunch of cars when comics were chasing him. So, that's been the tea, if you will, on the LA comedy scene. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there, but I do have a friend who was there, and they said you couldn't hurt Leslie. Trust me on that one. Uh, you could shoot her with a bazooka in the head; it would dent the bazooka. Um, so that's been a very interesting topic on Instagram. I think the comic, what's her name, Teresa Lowe, is the comic who got hit. Ian Ira Russo is the comic who hit her. Apparently, there's video footage from the weed shop next door. So Ian fucked up because the LA comedy community has messed up as it is. It's not just me this time doing the vigilante justice. But I think my friend, the great Kyle Anderson, who did the Chris D'Elia documentary, he made a great point that, Ian has nothing going on. So it's easy to turn on him because there's really nothing, there's no blowback that's going to happen. But if Ian had a TV show or he ran a good comedy show, Kyle's point was no one would say shit, which sadly is probably true. I mean, I'm a pretty big boy, 6'1", 6'2", I'll say 200 pounds at the moment. So not too many comics are going to fight me. Um, I think Segura and Burt once did a show where they were saying, who are the top 3 comics you wouldn't want to fight? And they kind of had a unanimous 3. I forget what episode, or I think it was Two Bears, One Cave, where they're like, okay, Rogan, because he could kill you. And then I think Segura was like, doesn't Skakel play hockey? And they agreed that I would not be a good person to fight. Yeah, I mean, give or take. I mean, I used to be as low as 185, put on some weight. Now I'd say I'm about 200. Hot yoga really cuts your body fat. Earl once had a face-off with Nick DiPaolo. I never have. I mean, I hear Nick DiPaolo's a pretty big dude and pretty tough guy. Obviously, Luis Gomez is proficient in the art of MMA. I forget his specialty, but Luis is pretty big dude. What's funny, I did a show last night at the Comedy Store, and there was a guy who works for AEW, and I'm like, hey man, get me an audition to play Roderick Strong's father. I could just be stumbling around backstage going, Roderick! Like he did Adam. No, I don't really like to fight. I never even fought a lot when I played hockey, to be honest with you. I mean, I was pretty aggressive at times when I played hockey, but I'm not that muscular or whatever, but I'm big boned, so I'm bigger. My body type is, I look bigger than what I am. So, good. The German in Venice. If you follow his channel on YouTube, follow Jesse Lee Peterson's channel on YouTube. The interview tomorrow is at 5 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. I do look big next to Lois. Lois is sleeping right now. She's not coughing as much, which is good. I've been trying these new drops. But I don't want to end the last few minutes of the stream talking about Lois's health. Tomorrow night, AEW, the 5-year anniversary. I'm sure we'll hear Dynamite anniversary. I'm sure we will hear more from MVP, who debuted last week in a very good segment. Okada is facing Danielson. Ospreay and Ricochet. That's going to be a banger. It's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night on Dynamite. I don't know if Shane McMahon is working with AEW at the moment, but someone is helping them with their storylines, because just how they brought in MVP last week was perfection. And yes, the chat with Jesse, if you watch Jesse's interviews, they're very religious in matter, very kind of almost mockingly serious. Mine's a little more humor based, but yeah, I mean, Shane, and that's why I believe Shane is going to AEW, because I thought Shane McMahon was the best part of Mr. McMahon. He came off as just a son who wanted his father's love. And you could tell he still hasn't gotten it. And I think that, you get the feeling that I'm sure Shane loves his sister, but I don't know. I think there's a schism between Shane and Triple H. So I'm sure he's like, hey, fuck you. I'll go to our competition and make them stronger. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would love to get a bigger following. I mean, and frankly, that's the game plan is to, try and get on more shows like Jesse Lee and I think his Instagram, he has 200,000 or 300,000 followers, and if even just 2,000 of those followers become fans, um, that's I would love that. And then you do, obviously Rogan's the brass key, brass ring, whatever you want to call it. Gutfeld, I tried. I've reached out to a few of my friends who've done it, and they've made it seem like it's hard to get on. Like he has to personally approve you. So I reached out to Rob Schneider. Rob said he would try and help. Uh, so I could see. So hopefully Jesse Lee. That interview gets eyes on me and people will go, hey, let's have Earl on this show. I have a feeling with me, I'm a great interview because I'm no filter. I mention names, but and I speak in like a pro wrestling like cadence. So, like the game plan would, Jesse Lee, maybe Bobby Lee, Jamie Kennedy's podcast, Your Mom's House, obviously Rogan. Um, Yeah, I mean, I didn't know Jesse was as big as he is, so I think that good things will come of it. I mean, I've seen some of his interviews get up to 100,000 views on YouTube. I don't know if mine's going to get that, but anything that will get me more pub. So if you guys like the interview, comment on his page, hey, bring back Earl or whatever, shit like that helps. That helps more than fucking $1 super chat. Trust me on that one. Yes, the Great White Hope, amazing. I mean, I would, yeah, but I'd sell out. I sold out when I did Roast Battle. That's not my normal sense of humor, but I was like, fuck it, man. I need a TV credit. Yeah, but I like Gutfeld because I think he's in on the joke that he's not funny. Like Gutfeld is kind of like Johnny Carson, where he's funnier when he's not funny. Like that makes no sense, right? But when he bombs and does the facial expression, it gives the guests an opportunity to, create that chaos. So, I mean, I'd love to be on a successful Fox News show, MSNBC, whatever. I'll do any show. So that's going to be it, guys. Earl Skakel in the Earlverse. My final review of the Wonderland Murders on MGM. Check it out. I think it's $5 a month on DirecTV is what I paid to watch it. Very good. It's definitely the most detailed documentary I've ever seen on the subject matter. And, in terms of the vice presidential debate, I give it to Vance. I just thought he was more polished. I want your eyes, pig. And yeah, check it out tomorrow. It like I said, on YouTube. I'm not sure when on Apple Podcast, but on YouTube tomorrow at 5 a.m. West Coast time, 8 a.m. East Coast time, and the next stream. I'm not sure when the next stream will be, to be completely honest. And this stream has been amazing. For Jesse Lee Peterson, Earl Skakel, you guys have been, wait for it, amazing.